Hey everyone, hope you're keeping well and enjoying your weekend. So you might have seen earlier today that it is in fact World Radio Day. So as a bit of a celebration, I thought I would give a bonus episode of In Conversation With. This particular episode, although the edited version of the interview was aired, I never did a full episode of because I hadn't quite started doing it and quite set them up at that point. But it was one of my favorite interviews that I did last year for personal reasons and just a great chat. The band that I got to interview was Ronnie and Shane of Those Damn Crows. So the reason behind the interview was because I was doing a Just Push Play festival special. For those of you unaware, Just Push Play is a festival I personally host, which is in aid of St. Nicholas Hospice and is in memory of my dad, who passed away of cancer in 2010. So I've been hosting that festival since 2015. Last year, Those Damn Crows headlined. So, we speak about the festival itself, their own podcast, the Crowcast, which returns this coming Tuesday, which I'm looking forward to seeing those guys back. Just generally life on the road, how the last couple of years have been for the band, obviously with COVID and everything that was going on, music industry in general, and just had a really good chat. So I thought I would put this up as a bit of a bonus episode to celebrate World Radio Day for those of you who may have missed it previously. And you can hear everything we talked about back then now. And we're joined by Shane Greenhall and Ronnie Huxford of Those Damn Crows. How you doing, boys?
We're good, thanks, bud. How are you, Lee?
Yeah, good, man. Yeah. Excited that Just Push Play is actually happening this year. And while on the subject of that, just thank you guys before we get chatting properly, but thanks again for headlining. It's absolutely an honor for me to have you guys headlining, man.
Man, we are like really stoked to be playing. It'll be our first time in Bury St. Edmunds, is that right, Ron? I don't recall.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the whole concept of the whole thing, the vibe of it all. Our agent, there was so many letdowns and postponements through COVID.
Yeah.
And this was one of the venues and one of the gigs that we wanted to kind of, and our agent said as well, this is a good one to do, you know what I mean? So we had backing from the agent, we wanted to do it as well. So it's just great that, like as you said, it's finally going to happen.
Well, that's nice to know, man. Like that the agent is giving it that backing, because as you guys know the story behind it.
Yeah.
This is all set up in memory of my dad, who I lost to cancer.
Yeah.
And last year, when you guys obviously were due to play, obviously COVID hit and we had to postpone, but that would have been 10 years from my dad passing away. So I wanted to up the scale a bit, shall we say. And it been, when I first did the first show, it was literally like friends, bands, and my own band at the time in the back room of a pub, just doing it for a bit of fun and seeing what would happen. And then surely year by year, it grew a bit and a bit more. And then I got to the 5th year of it, and I thought, 3rd year of it, I've done 3 shows and then went to the 4th. And I thought, I think it's time to, see what we can do with this. And I'd been just a rock music fan. I've managed to, the new wave of classic rock scene that was rising through and the bands that were on that. And I thought I'd just put it out there and see where it would go. And set up a little crowdfunder thing to see what could happen with it.
Yeah.
And within 2 weeks, we had the deposit. Thanks everybody donating to that for the Apex, which is where we're now hosted in it. And then it was like, shit, I better do this.
Yeah.
Because now people have helped me and backed me out. And first year we had Wolfjaw. We had Wolfjaw Boys headlining the first year that we were there. That was fantastic. And then last year, also I keep saying last year with it, nothing happened last year. 2019, we had Massive Wagons headline, we had the Amorex on, All Star, Dead Man's Whiskey Boys, and a load of other decent bands. And just everyone's supporting this, man, just means the absolute world to me. And so much so I've just been dedicating a whole arm.
Oh, look at that. That's amazing.
Well, I'd Lloyd will help me for this, but I've just covered up my Aerosmith tattoo. I had that Aerosmith wings done when I was 18, and then 15 years later, it was starting to look a little tired, and the arm needed a bit of a facelift, and I couldn't think of a better sleeve to do than the Just Push Play sleeve. So that knows me, Crow.
Okay.
Yes.
It is. Yeah, I thought it was time to go big or go home. I'd sort of got a few tattoos and a few leg sleeves and stuff, but I've not done that. Then gone to my arms too much yet. So I thought, well, I'm never going to regret this. So.
Love it, dude.
So we also talked about lockdown, but obviously I'm going to Just Push Play. But you guys have got a gig at Tivoli the night before, and I was absolutely astounded. I mean, how many of the Crow fans going from the Tivoli to Bury St Edmunds. There are a lot of messages of people, and some people I know from around our area, so they're going from Bury over the Tivoli, watch a show there on the Tivoli on the Friday night, and then sort of almost travelling back with you for the Saturday night, man. It's insane.
Nah, man, the Crow family, the support, Ronnie will vouch for this. It's unreal. It's like, it's the same as this weekend. I mean, we're doing Friday in Bradford, and then those people who have seen us in Bradford are coming to Steelhouse. So, and they're doing exactly the same with you and the Apex, and as you said, with the Tiv. It's just insane. The support has been incredible. It's almost like magnified through lockdown. You know what I mean? They've been, they'd always come to our shows, they always buy the merch and stuff. But I think everybody's just galvanized everyone, you know, and they appreciate, you know, we've been stuck in the house for 18 months. You know, the record came out and he was doing so well, and then the world stopped. So I think they appreciated where we were. The momentum stopped, so to speak, but it was our job to carry on that, and that's how Crowcast was born, and it's been a godsend because we've just been able to interact with them, and you know, and give the love back, I suppose.
Yeah,
they've showed us.
You definitely get that atmosphere from Crowcast. I mean, obviously, you know, watch that myself, and thanks to you guys, I'm now going to download next year. So thanks for that.
You're welcome.
I was blown over the moon, mate. I never win anything, and I was sat here on the sofa with Joe, my wife, who you'll meet in the Apex, and you know, I've been going to download since I was like 17 or whatever. So I was like, oh, it's a bit of fun. I've done the other quizzes as well. And I'm just there going, oh, okay, yep. And then I put my phone down thinking, oh, that's the end of that.
Yeah.
And then Joe went, your phone's beeping. And I was like, oh. And I'm like, she went, what? I went, well, it must be something wrong with the quiz app because it's saying I've won.
Yeah.
She's going, Lee, look at the telly. So I look up and there's you boys telling me I won. So, no, thanks for that.
No, genuinely, like when we finished the quiz, because we've got to know you more over, especially over the COVID period online, and we just said it couldn't have gone to a better person because we know how much you love the scene, we know how much you love music, and that's what we wanted, was a genuine like music fan to win it rather than somebody just popped on and just so happened to win it and they don't really care about download or music at all, like, you know. So just really happy that it went to somebody who'd appreciate it, like, you know. And I think we all said that, didn't we, on the post-show meeting? Like, we were like, it went to somebody who will really appreciate that.
Oh, well, definitely.
Yeah, man.
But going back to sort of Crowcast in general, obviously that's, like you say, I think that's magnifying even more the community sense of feel within the Crow family. I think, you know, everyone's, you know, while you guys are talking on Crowcast, everyone's having their chats, everyone's doing this. The Crow family have been amazing with supporting Just Push Play. Some of them have been previously in previous years, and I knew them anyway. Some have come on because of you guys obviously headlining, and the support I've received from the Crow family has been absolutely insane. Like I say, with people going to Tiffany and then coming back, that's just ridiculous. But thanks to them. But generally, I just think it's just because you guys, you like I tried to do my interview. There's nothing worse than a boring interview. There's nothing worse when you just get the, when's your album out? What's your favorite song on the album?
Yeah.
But, you know, and you just think everyone's asking this. Like one of the best ways I can point it out was again going back to Download Festival. Actually, one year, they, you know how they have it on the screens on like the lowdown thing where they have people interviewing bands and stuff. But one year they had a competition to do that, basically to interview bands, and they got this guy. I can't remember his name or anything, but they had this one bloke in there who'd won the competition, and he got an interview a sort of handful of his favorite bands who were on the bill that year, and it was the best set of interviews because he, like you were saying, he was just a fan wanting to know what the fans want to know, so they really sort of shine through, rather than the stock questions where they're asking bands who probably necessarily not, maybe not even some of them are a particular fan of the particular acts they're talking to. So I think it just always makes for more thing. And the range of guests you have as well, I was loving the one with Pritchard last night. I mean, this is a guy who I've taken a lot of inspiration from in a lot of ways. I mean, when I was a teenager, he was, you know, inspiring me to do stupid stunts and pay hospital visits. Still, then you get the other side of the coin, which was in May. I decided, you know, hitting back to the gym and all that. I watched a documentary and I've seen it called Game Changer. And it was all about how plant-based diets were better for workouts and stuff. And I was going back to martial arts and I was going back to the gym after that period. And and I just wanted to make the most of it, really. And my sensei had sent me this documentary, said, oh, check this out. So I watched it and I found it really interesting. So then I thought, right, well, you know what, I'm going to give it a month, 6 weeks. And Jo, my wife, she's not really bothered by eating meat anyway. So she was in for it. So that obviously helped. And then me, I love cooking. I love cooking. It's a big passion of mine. So I was going through trying to find some decent, cool vegan cookbooks, and found the Dirty Vegan books that Matt had done. And I basically lived off them for 4 weeks, because that's what I tend to do. I just tend to, I get, well, fucking hell, look at this. We've not done that yet, So yeah, so it was really interesting seeing his side of the coin, and all the sort of Iron Man stuff that he's been doing as well, which is insane.
Yeah, dude, I like your point there is valid. We don't tend to interview people, like we have a chat, and it's not just like Matt last night. Ruth Jones, for example, we would almost go back to like what they've done in Gavin and Stacey, or we kind of wanted to look like, there've been thousands of questions about Dirty Sanchez or Gavin and Stacey. We kind of stay away from that and almost give in another side of the character, because everyone, that's their work, so to speak. And I know Matt, like, he's talked about Dirty Sanchez till the cows come home, and I think he was younger, and he said, he's talked about it so much, but to talk about this, as you said, the inspiring stuff he's doing now, do you know what I mean? That change in his role. I mean, we had so much love last night for him from all the Crow family. So that's what we just want to get to the real person, you know what I mean? Not the person you may see on telly, the person, the real person.
That's where it's interesting, though, isn't it? In the day,
yeah,
the human side of people. That's where it's interesting.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit yet again the post meeting last night about, I don't know, when we've had certain guests on, especially like Shane just said. Now, Ruth, for example, that's a brilliant person to bring up, or Pritchard. There's certain things you just kind of don't want to spend a lot of time on, and I think that's what we've been personally doing well, is ironing. I don't know, just ironing out what we got to bring up, because that's what made them, or that's part of their journey in whatever field they do. But certain things kind of not making a massive thing about it, like the Gavin and Stacey thing with Ruth, or the Dirty Sanchez thing, because they've gone on and they are people, like Shane said. So I think it's just echoing what he said, and I think we've been able to kind of see that, and we naturally, organically, because that's what we're like in life anyway. Not like on a weekly show that's on the internet or whatever. We're kind of like that anyway. We've kind of grown up knowing, very fortunate knowing, like, comedians, actors, sports stars. And I think it's maybe where we were brought up and how we were brought up. You don't really you don't make a massive thing about it, do you?
So famous people.
Yeah, and the thing is, where we're from, like, if you go for a beer, for example, like, there's a band we know, they did really well, and we've grown up with them, we've always drunk with them and stuff. But you'd always see the people who would make a big deal, and they would push them more out of the way. So I don't know, we've always kind of just treated people as people. And what they do for a job is just really cool, for example. So because I'm the same as Shane, I find people interesting. So I if you've got a really cool job, or if you work as a graphic illustrator, or whether you're a nurse, or you just so happen to be an actress, MBE, it's getting to that. Do we get on with you? Are we going to kind of have a connection moving forward? And I'd say out of 70 episodes, there's a high percentage of those guests where I think we've made friendships apart from Crowcast, haven't we, Shane?
Yeah, 100%. It's a valid point, because you think someone because they've been on TV or they've been successful, but that doesn't, the cliche, never judge a book and stuff. Me personally, I don't judge anybody until I've actually met them or spoke to them.
No, this is it. Like, I'm the same as you. Until I've had a personal dealing with them, that's our thing. Like, dealing with certain shows I've been involved in, I've been in situations like working backstage and that kind of thing, where you hear rumors of so and so's ex like this, and you've got to be wary of them for this reason. And I've been like, well, okay, and then wound myself up, because I'm thinking, oh Jesus, am I going to have to deal with? And the first couple of times I did, I took on people's word, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not used to, I was newly working in that environment, and I'd be like, right, okay, well, I've got to be thinking. Then I meet the person, and then they're fine with me.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're just like, right, okay, well, they're cool with me, so I'm going to be absolutely fine with them. So.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly how we go about when I don't even like saying the word, when we have interviews, when we have guests on. It's just a chat. It's just to find out who that person is. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's just connecting, man. And I think the Crows in particular, we kind of do that on our live shows. We do that after our shows on the merch table. It's something, as Ron said, we kind of grown up. I remember my dad saying to me, like, forget celebrities, forget people on TV. There's nobody better than you. You know, if your boss is wearing a shirt and tie and he's driving a Mercedes and he's got, I don't know, three houses and a house, a villa out in so and so, it doesn't mean he's bigger or better than you. Do you know what I mean? And I think, so it doesn't matter where you are in life. Just treat people how you would want to be treated yourself. And then you get to see the real person then. Do you know what I mean? It's not about, oh, look at this, I got a shiny new car, or I got a successful on a TV program. It's just about keeping it real, like Ron said. And that's what Crowcast is all about.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's so successful, because people relate to that. You got people who, people interested in bands that they enjoy, or artists whose work that they like, and any sort of whatever art form that may be. But equally, like you say, it's that personal connection. It's that, would I get on with them? Are they thinking like me?
Yeah.
And it is, I think that's when you have these honest conversations, that's what makes it interesting, because if you're a fan of that band anyway, you know all the basics, you know where they grew up, you know where the band name came from, or you know who started what, and the who's, hows, and the whens and the whys. But what you might not know is their personal stories behind certain things. So that's what's the interesting bit. And I think that's why Crowcast is so interesting, because you are having those conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's amazing how much more, like, we never go in thinking, oh, let's try and get more out of them. But it's amazing when you just do the low key conversation, what comes out. It's like, it's crazy. You're not even looking for it. But then, as you said, the real person comes out, and then there's real sort of context, and everybody can relate to it. Like Matt was talking about his mental health, and he's talked about we didn't want to really talk about that, but he touched on it a little bit, and he raises a lot of money for it, and that was enough. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And to see him doing what he's doing now, that's all the inspiration you need. Do you know what I mean? Anybody that's suffering with mental health now just looks down and goes, wow, maybe I should give that a go. Maybe I should eat better. Maybe I should go to the gym. And it's just a literal change of thought that could be the spark of changing somebody's life. So
this is it. When he's talking about his mental health side of things, like talking about, like, that's something I battled in the past after my dad passed away and all that. I had a big sort of big turmoil, and took me a lot of years to sort. That's why I do Just Push Play. I'm not gonna lie. It's a vent for me for that part of it. It's a way of doing something positive out of the shittest thing that has ever happened in my life. But another side of that was what I went through. My way of finding the best thing I did was going back to my martial arts, and that's where I started. And then I started hitting the gym more, and it was like, right, when I was playing rugby and stuff, I went to the gym to fuel my rugby playing. Basically, never a fan of just going to the gym and hitting it. I have become since, but at the time I wasn't. So then it became, right, well, I'm going back to martial arts, so I'm going to go to the gym so that I'm fit to do my martial arts. And then it became, well, I better eat better, because that fuels the gym, which fuels my martial arts. And when Matt was talking about, how his eating affects his mental health, how exercising, especially when he's talking about the days where you don't really feel like doing it, but as he said, you never have, you never feel shit after a workout. I mean, my mate Sean, who I normally spar with, he seems to know when I'm having that day where I'm thinking, I might not bother tonight, because whenever I seem to be thinking, maybe I won't go tonight, I'm slightly over late getting out of work, or whatever obstacle when you're tired you put in your way, Sean will text me at that roughly around that time going, hey dude, are you training tonight? And it's like, you've been called out on it, so you just I'll be down, man. And then when you're doing it, you're loving it, it's fine. But I say,
I think what I've loved is, like, yet again, over 70 episodes, you touch on the mental health. You had Mark Richardson come on and speak about addiction and mental
that was
health.
really cool.
Oh, I love that. Love that episode.
That was really cool. A lot of friends go through addiction and stuff like that. So to hear that side of his experiences was really interesting.
That I know it resonated with so many people because he was just so open and honest. And he said to myself and Shane, just ask me anything, you know, and I think in the episode he was just happy to go deeper and deeper in the layers. And yet again, he's offered out his email address. And I think that was a tremendous episode and quite a powerful episode during quite a dark time as well. And I hope that's, you know, that's the beautiful thing about doing Crowcast. It's on YouTube. It's now audible as well. So we've made it audible. And I think it doesn't matter. I've noticed this. Some of the episodes won't date. They might have been done 6 months ago, but the subject will never date. So it's, you know, for anybody who might listen like 3 years, 5 years down the line, that might connect to somebody at that moment. And then you had Toby Jepson who came on and he was charismatic. And then he just hit us with a truth bomb of, imagine, you know, you 1 minute you're on stage. What was it, Shane? 1 minute you're on stage with Van Halen. The next thing you know, the drummer or someone, or not the drummer, or the keyboard player is in a supermarket listening to him on the radio. Because they'd obviously finished. They hit the high and then all of a sudden, bump, they're back down on the low. There was a story in there, wasn't there? It was just such a truth bomb of, well, you know, everything was happening for us. We're playing Wembley Stadium, sorry, not even arena, with like Bryan Adams and stuff like that. And then we're on a plane and then all of a sudden we're in a supermarket and it's all gone away and the band's dispersed. And for me personally, and I know Shane loved them as well, so I don't have to say personally, but that connects with so many people. That's incredible, because that's something that maybe Toby's talked about before, but he didn't have to with us. He could have easily just come on and gone, hey, I'm Toby Jepson. This is what I'm selling at the moment, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's what I've done. Yes, Shane, I've played guitar. Right, good night, guys. And that's it. And it's quite a vanilla hour or whatever. But I know those certain episodes, and that's just a couple that came to my mind.
Yeah.
And that's without the fun aspect then of like a Jimmy Watkins who came from nowhere. That it ended up being like a really crazy but yet again inspiring episode, because through all the funny jokes of Jimmy being an athlete, there was a lot of dark truths of, you know, addiction and he had to change his life. So I think that's been kind of a, you know, every now and then those episodes come along, and yet again it's up to the individual if they want to open up and if they feel comfortable. And it definitely leaves a powerful message, not just for us and not just for Crowcast. It's like you said, if you've connected with it and others out there connect with it, that's what we've put the time in for. Like, you know, it's all been worth it.
It's what resonates, isn't it?
Nah, he's a lovely dude. So open and ready to talk about the highs and lows of it. And again, we've played many shows with Toby, many events. But never really had a proper sit down and chat. And on Crowcast was our first kind of, you know, we'd stop and say hello and that, but a proper chat. Yeah. And he just offloaded, told it like it is. There's no, you know, he didn't paint a pretty picture. Do you know what I mean? He's had he's super successful.
Oh yeah.
But hit it with, you know, the reality. Like Ron said, it's those people that are, it's the person you're speaking to, Toby, not the front man of a band. You were speaking to Toby and he was just telling like it is. And they're the people we get on with best. Therefore, the show then just thrives because it's, like we keep saying, it's connecting and people resonating and not hearing. Because the sad thing is about our industry, everyone assumes you're doing brilliant. That's the truth. It's like if you have a little bit of success in the charts or you got a successful tour going on, oh, you must be raking it in. You're doing so well. And yeah, we are in a position, thankfully, that we are doing well. But, you know, people think bigger than what you are doing, you know? And for Toby to tell it like it is, nothing but respect. And I think everybody comes on Crowcast, you know, they're not afraid to say it. And I think that's a good thing.
That's cool. Is there anybody who you haven't had on Crowcast yet that you'd like to get to?
Well, you know, I know what Ronnie's going to say.
Well, Dave Grohl, no.
Well, that's it. That's it.
He's tried to come on a couple of times actually,
Yeah.
and but obviously now he's busy back with the band and everything's it's been moving a bit quicker in America, so we couldn't quite line up the schedules, like, you know. But yeah, no, all jokes aside, yeah, Dave Grohl we would love to have on. To be honest, we're quite fortunate. No one's actually, nobody has really said no. It's only like a couple who, where their schedules just hasn't married up, or the timing that we do it at the moment, because of obviously the format that it's in, just doesn't kind of suit everybody, like, you know. But everybody's kind of up for it, or we've had really good like feedback, or we didn't realize how many people actually watch it, whether they watch it live or they watch it days later, or some are on like a week later. Industry wise, we didn't realize how many people within our industry, other industries, watch it. So yeah, it's you know, it's one of those, I think. But you know, I think we just, it organically grew, and I think that's the best way. We kind of said from the start what we wanted to do. Myself and Shane had many a chat when the world was going wrong. We made it happen. You know, it's there now. I love how it's there and bare and in its infancy of like how it was, and you just see it getting better and better week by week. You know, a little bit more slicker, a little bit more organized, a little bit less chaotic, and but I still wouldn't swap those few episodes, because it kind of, it got us to where we needed to.
On the path, didn't it?
Yeah, man. I mean, I obviously, you know, we do a lot of editing and stuff like that. Like I said, it's kind of like a full-time job at the moment, because there's always that going on. We're weeks ahead with guests. Now the life has started kicking back in. It is really interesting, because we always talked about what would happen when this happens. At the moment, everything's just managing to take over. Whether that be late nights, etc. That's how we manage to work it. But I just think that no matter in it, whatever's form, the ideal scenario would be if we had like a pub and you could just have people over and do it from there. That would be perfect, because then it's no different. That's what we kind of try to do live every week, don't we, Shane? It's but the reality is, you know, if we get to get as busy, like if you look at those episodes between 10 and, I don't know, you hear us talking about you can imagine when we're back gigging, or when's that going to happen? And it's just mad to think that we're on episode 70. I think that's what shocked me the other day when I was going through the archives. You know, you can hear us talking about wouldn't it be nice to gig, and then how excited we were to do the streaming gigs. And then now we're on episode 70. So 70 weeks to get to where we were hoping for. That's quite mad to even think that we managed to document 70 weeks of a weekly chat show. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just a chat and a bit of fun with the band as well, because you know, it's great that we have the guests on, myself and Shane, and everyone loves that section, but they also love it when the boys come on then as well. And you know, we've
I've got to be honest, every week I wait for Dave's Did You Know, because that has had me in absolute crying of tears at times.
There you go. And he's got his own jingle now, so you know, he's a Jesus Christ, you know, he's sailing. Like I said, you know, we wouldn't be able to split the screen like this with the three of us on. No.
Full screen.
No, full screen. No, but it really pulled back the layers. Now that you know, we were warned of that, because you know, a lot of people said you should keep some. When I grew up, it's probably the same as you boys. There was always a little bit of what's the word? I'm trying to think of it, so I'm kind of pondering over it. Yeah, a little bit of where you don't kind of know the rock stars, you know, that whole
kind of sort of veil over the front of it, sort of thing.
Yeah,
like
I can't think of the word. Like about it. The mystery. Yeah, there's a little bit of but I genuinely think that went years ago. And I think the ones that try to hold the mystery are the ones that they kind of struggle to connect sometimes with the fan bases, because we're just in a different world now. There's phones everywhere with cameras on them. it's hard to keep anything bloody a secret. Like, do you know what I mean? Of anything leaking, even gigs is hard to keep a secret these days because, you know, you got street teams. I imagine you're the same, Lee. And somebody in a street team's really chuffed because they've seen that you've given them the poster. They've given it to their friend and that's gone to someone else. And before you know it, everybody's texting the band. That's what happens. And the band are like, oh, you know, do you? So, because it kind of filters out, like, you know, so
It
that
happened with the download thing as well, didn't it? That came out a couple of days beforehand. Like,
Yeah,
oh, the
so
Crows are
that-
playing. They were like, typical.
yeah, we were
It's
waiting
mad.
for that big moment where we da-da, and then it's like, what? We were like, everyone knows.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think in 2021, it's like the new way to form a solid fan base, a solid community more than anything. Like what you know, what we call them, the Crow family, because it is, you start to know them, they come to the gigs, they spend a lot of money on the merch, a lot of money on traveling. So you kind of want to give back a bit more. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I just think it's magical. We're at a great stage with rock music at the moment. And I think,
I think the scene the last 5-6 years has been more exciting than it's been for quite a long time. I don't think rock was ever dead. It was certainly not dead in my house. There were certainly bands I was discovering even before the new wave of classic rock this side of things. You know, you had your precursors with bands like the Answer and Heaven's Basement and everyone coming through on that side of things. But
yeah,
I think there's just like for the first time in a long time, there's been an actual genuine scene again where everyone's supportive of bands, supporting each other, fans, but like of other bands. I think that's why this new wave of classic rock, you know, compilation is going to do well.
I'm not just saying it because he's here, because I do interviews myself without Shane anyway, and it is hard for like a singer to party every night. I don't know how they did it back in the day.
Voice for a start.
Well, that's probably why half of them, Vince Neil, can't sing now. Do you know what I mean? So it's the case of if you're partying that hard every night, it's gonna catch up to you, whether it's your health or your instrument.
Yeah.
Especially like I said, I can only name Shane because he's on the screen, but someone who can actually sing. I mean, those who are aided by Pro Tools, Christ, they can go strong. They can go strong. They can party every night. They got no reason to be on the green tea, let me tell you. But
I think you're right. I think Vince Neil needs to invest in some Pro Tools from the last time I saw him.
Yeah, I mean, for more the organic singers, like Danny Bowes as well. Like,
Hell of a voice on him, that man.
Yeah, you know, natural singers. It's hard, man. And I think like your Ricky Warwicks, everyone will say that to start caning the whiskey every night or the beer. You have to kind of lay back, because what happens is you get excited about a tour and you want to buy tickets to 6 of those shows on 15 dates. But what happens if we hit it hard three nights in a row and Shane's like, that's it, I'm done. It's like, it's not fun then, is it? Like, you know, when the rest of the band are like, well, what about the income and stuff? And the thing is, when a band grows now, like we're fortunate to have grown, it's not just the band, it's the crew, it's the whole team around the band. And there's only so many chances you get the kind of mess up, for a better word. Like, do you know what I mean? So if you start becoming that band with that reputation of caning constantly and cancelling shows, well, you're not really going to make a living, especially, like I said, in 2021. I mean, 1980s, you know, around that period, geez, you would have made a career just on getting caned every night. Like, do you know what I mean? So, and we would have probably done good at that. That's the true story there. Honestly, do you know what I mean?
I'll drink to that.
Yeah, I'll drink to We'd all be on a Cohen salary then, let me tell you. But,
Yeah.
you know, knowing people that we do, there's a time and a place. So we like to have a bit of a party, or, you know, have a bit of fun, and definitely alcohol. I'm not alcohol free. I just think there's a time and a place for it. You know, we have a duty and a job, and Shane says that, like, you know, it's got to lead by example, haven't you, Shane? Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, 100%. And the mad thing is, we can drink, and we drink very well. So like.
Yeah.
You produced 2 fantastic beers during lockdown.
Well, there we go. Yeah,
exactly.
But for us to have the party night, we've got to be drinking a lot of volume of alcohol, and we're capable of doing that. But as you said, you just can't do it. You're gonna let people down, families, and all those people that come to see you. But yeah, when we do party, you know, like we're gonna have a couple now up on Steelhouse on the Sunday. We will go for it, and there's a time and place. You know, you can enjoy that, but not at the expense of the show. Never at the expense of the show.
It would be the same as, like, you know, when we come to yours, just push play. It's we haven't got nothing following it up the next night, like, you know. So I actually think yours is the last for a while in a chain of our schedule anyway, like, you know, because obviously, unfortunately, everything's been pushed back or etc. etc. But so the same rules apply, and like Shane said, we go to Night Train Bradford, we do a job, but we're quite aware on the traveling to, the traveling from, and then we have Steelhouse Festival to put on, and then it's the case of, right, now we have 6 days where we can kind of go again, like, you know. So we have that nice little period to let your hair down and have a few Neepers or blink of an IPAs.
And why not, indeed, man?
Yeah.
Who came up with the idea for doing the beers anyway?
It was, yet again, I'm not just saying it, but, well, I'll just say it. When we were in lockdown and everything, the world started going wrong.
Yeah.
We were just there every day, just saying, what can we do, innit? What can we do? So whether it was Crowcast, new merch, there was talk of other stuff that I don't want to say, just in case somebody else hears it and they pick up on the ideas. But there was loads of ideas, as you can imagine, and every day we'd be ringing each other, and we'd be speaking to the other boys as well. But it was like myself and Shane kind of brainstorming, and then if something stuck with him, it'd be the case of, right, you crack on with that, I'll do that. So we were very, very busy at that time. The team that we kind of had going, it just wasn't keeping up with us. And I think it's fair to say, during the climate and the way the world was, we were still kind of expecting, where a lot of people were like, hang on, let's just see how this plans out. But we didn't want to stop. So then we kind of aligned with a new team, etc. And one of the first things that they said before they even came on board was, I kind of like the idea of you guys having a beer. And we were like, welcome to the club. and coffee, and you know, that was the early talk. But the idea was there before that. It was just the execution of it. And, you know, no matter how myself and Shane would pick up the phone, and, you know, people in the industry have admired it, where they go, fair play to you, you're not afraid to pick up the phone and try and make things work. But we just couldn't get those contacts aligned, or we couldn't work out the next stages. We're not shy of saying, you know, the knowledge has to be there as well. So it's just good that we've aligned ourselves as experience in that field. And everything's kind of fallen into play, like, you know. And like I said, we're proud to collab. We did the first one with Dog's Window, which is a local brewery. He's on the app. He's getting amazing reviews. And the second one, yet again, is another successful Welsh brewery, which is Temby. And it's just going tremendous at the moment. If anything, it's like, well, we just heard now, yet again, a batch is pretty much gone, isn't it, Shane? Temby, they're on another batch, which you're talking thousands now of units, not even hundreds, because it's obviously going out in kegs, it's going out in cans. It's now made its way into like microbreweries and craft shops, and yeah, man, it's, you know, but we know that you have to walk, you can't run, like, you know. So but yeah, I would genuinely say the idea has been there. It was just having the right people around to make it happen. And I don't know, Shane said it so many times, quality over quantity. So we always want to make sure that what we're selling, like a few people could say, you know, it's the KISS kind of mantra. But it's not. I mean, and I can't really put down KISS, because at the end of the day, if you've got really good products, you should be able to sell it, and the band's a brand. But we won't put our name to anything we don't believe in. We have been offered, haven't we?
Oh, yeah.
We've been offered loads over the last couple of months, like of stuff to advertise on Crowcast. We've been offered money to advertise it, and we've been offered.
So you weren't going to do that scene in Wayne's World down when Garth's all in the Reebok. You're not going to do that.
Was it Wayne's Arcade or something like that?
Yeah, but, arcade or something, isn't it?
Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, but no, you know, not lying. It's like we have been approached by many people for that. But yet again, we kind of want to do everything right. And if it doesn't feel right, Shane and the boys have said it themselves, there's no point in doing it just for the sake of doing it, like, you know. So, and plus I think all of our products at the moment, everybody likes in the band, which is really important. So, you know, it's nothing worse if you were walking around with an empty can pretending to drink it. We genuinely taste tested the Nipa. We love Blink of an IPA. That's gone down really well, especially locally, the feedback as well. And now we know it's going up country as well, which is brilliant. And the coffee, yet again, when we were allowed to, we safely went to the place, and they did a full taste. Durstons did a full taste testing session. So yeah, which was really interesting. Like, you know,
There was a lot of coffee that day. We were flying.
We were wired. Yeah, we
Yeah.
were proper wired. So, and she closed the whole place down, love her,
Yeah.
and it was brilliant. It was. So we just literally had cups, as Shane would say, cups and cups just coming to the table, trying the beans, the espresso, the cafetiers, or what's it like doing it that way? So yeah, there wasn't just a case of with those damn crows, just stick a sticker on a bag, it'd be fine. It was like, well, no, we want to choose something that tastes nice, like, you know. So
and that we would drink, you know.
Yeah.
I think that always comes across, doesn't it? It goes back to what you're saying, you know, about being genuine and being honest. There's you know, a lot of bands out there who've done like beers on wines or etc. And you can always tell which band have sort of, you know, like Maiden with Trooper, when they did a similar thing to you guys, of actually going and testing and being involved in the process, or if they've just done, not fair to name band, but Slayer doing like their Rain in Blood wine, which was clearly just another bottle with a label on it.
Yeah.
But like you say, it just goes back to being honest and true amongst yourselves. But no,
it's important to be authentic and original and keeping real to yourself in every avenue we explore, whether it be on stage or off it, because that's all we can be, is ourselves, and that is the trust we have with our fan base. So you know, if we shy away from that, we've let ourselves down and them. So, you know, it's important.
Yeah, of course. And like we were touching on there, you also going, you know, back to live shows, the first of which would be in the Download pilot. I had a few friends who were there in the crowd. I couldn't get the weekend off work myself, and I was gutted. But what was it like from a band's point of view? I know me and you, Ronnie, spoke about it sort of briefly online and all that, but from you guys, from your guys' point of view, what was it like going back to those hallowed grounds in Donington?
Insane. I mean, we went up the night before, and you know, that buzz is in the air, thinking, shit, we're playing Download tomorrow, and then you're on the bus, and you're gonna go through the gates, and you're like, wow, there's a lot of cars, I can hear bands playing, and then you're like, this is happening, like, this is insane. And then you queue up, and it was a case of, let's go and see. We went backstage, saw the stage we were playing at, and it was just, oh, there's so many people, and it was just like, this feels so wrong, but it feels so right. This is incredible. Is it safe to do? It got to be safe to do. You know, you question yourself, like, you know, should I go out in the crowd? Yeah, well, got to as a pilot. And it came to the point where then it was like, you got to let all that go and just be in that moment. And psychologically it was weird, but incredible. I remember saying before we hit the stage, 40 minutes, boys. That's all we got. And we've been waiting to play Download. You got to remember now, it's been cancelled, was it 2 years? So we've been on that poster, playing main stage, and then we're not. Then we are, then we're not. And then this pilot comes on board, and I just said, boys, we've waited so long for this 40 minutes. It's going to be gone in a blink of an eye, no pun. But make sure you enjoy it, give it your all, because it's gone. 40 minutes, that's all we got. And so much went wrong in our 40 minutes from a technical side of things. But I can honestly say, dude, I loved it. Like, even the fuck ups, do you know what I mean? Even the mistakes, it was just live. It was just, again, in that moment where anything could happen. I found myself in the crowd, literally hit by a wall of emotion. Every 30 seconds, the crowd's faces were changing from tears to happiness to frustration to raising your fists and the middle finger to COVID, and then sheer emotion and joy and love. It was just, that is why we do what we do, to experience that. And that 40 minutes, I won't forget it, because even though it didn't go perfectly, that's what you live for, innit? You know, just to be there and just feel that vibe, feel that wave, ride that wave, that emotional wave from the crowd. Nothing like it.
I can't
You can't add to that, can you, Ronnie?
He just said it all. Yeah, all of that.
I'm just thinking about it. Do you know what I mean? It's just such a beautiful thing. And I think everyone takes it for granted. I think everybody is taking it for granted. And now when the world shut down, and then they realize, oh shit, how important are the arts? Like, you know what I mean? Going to a gallery, seeing a piece of art, and talking to somebody else about that piece of art, or talking about music, or going to see a live show, or seeing your friends, where you may not see each other for God knows how long, but you go to a field in the middle of nowhere, and then you're best mates again, and you're hugging each other. Like, that shit's important. And I don't think the government realized that. Like, you know, they were asking us to find new jobs, you know, deal with it. It's just mad, bud. And just for it to come full circle now and looking like, you know, everybody getting their jabs and normality coming back. Ah, man. Like, I can't wait. Yeah. We all deserve it. We all need it.
Nothing could prepare you for it as well. No amount of rehearsals, no amount of prep. It was electrifying. I've said that for months now. The drug of performing to people, like, it was such a, it doesn't matter how much you think you got it all sussed. Like, you know, when we walked out and you heard the roar and felt the energy and the heat and it's just everything in one, and it just hits you like a wave, like when you're a performer on the stage, especially when everything's going right, or that vibe with the band. And Download was one of those moments where, you know, yet again, I think, like, I don't know how many songs where I didn't know what to do, but, you know, I was head banging, I was nearly crying, I was frustrated, you know, because you want it to be perfect, and overall it was perfect. It was just utterly beautiful to hear that amount of people all back together. Like, it's just special, something I'll never ever forget, I'll never take for granted. And God, I just can't wait to do it again now. Can't wait to do it again. Like,
we ain't got long to wait, Ronnie, mate. You got Stillhouse this weekend, pal. So.
Oh, yes. Well, that's the beautiful thing now. Like I said, you know, we were very fortunate. I know where the band are, and I'm so grateful that we managed to do, like, Planet Rocks, in the Asylum. I'm so grateful to do that. It was just lovely being back with the boys. Mentally, it done us the world of good. And then we did Rock Palast in Germany, and I mean, that's probably the most fun. Ibiza was fun. If I had to, like, pick pockets, and North Wales, we had a trip up North Wales, which there was a lot of shenanigans and fun up there. But Rock Palast was just like, it was brilliant. And then on the last day, Shane was just like, "Come on, we're gonna get scooters." It was just surreal, like, and like, I think it's really important. Any band listening, it's really important to have those moments of just, like, with your boys. Like, you know, you spend a lot of time in a tin, and you're road warriors, you're constantly traveling to the next venue, your highs and lows, you got personal stuff going on in the background, whether it be with your family or you know what I mean? So it's really nice to kind of have those moments on stage, but more importantly, enjoy the moments that you can together as well. Like, you know, so, you know, you hear it from so many bands. It's such a true story, Lee, where you don't really get enough time to enjoy where you are, like, you know, because you're always on to the next place. You're very, especially the professional ones, you know, you're trying to kind of move with the tour, like, you know. And Germany, like I said, that was a beautiful moment just to go, hang on, let's take a moment, get some scooters. And as Shane said, let's just go, and we ended up, I think we rode 20 miles. You know, like 20, we rode to another city on scooters together as a band, and created a memory. And like I said, it's brought us right up to now, where we've just done, you know, a packed tent in Download, which is surreal, still in a pandemic. And now restrictions have opened up. We're going to Bradford. It's going to be the first time we've been indoors playing to full capacity crowd, sold out show. I mean, if 4 tickets go on this one website, I've had a look, they're gone, which is incredible. And then to, like you said, go over to Steelhouse, come back home, which we haven't played home for it feels like for so long. Steelhouse, you know, we spent a lot of time with the guys there, so we know how hard they've worked and how special it is to everybody. So I think that's going to be incredible. And then up to TIV, which is a pilot event, which is
That's got
bizarre.
to change that to a pilot event the other day.
It has to be because of the restrictions in Wales, Seeley. Because that's where it's bizarre being like myself and Shane in a band at the moment. Because we're traveling to Bradford, no restrictions. Wear a mask if you want to wear a mask. I sound like Boris Johnson. Wear a mask if you want to wear a mask. Don't wear a mask if you don't want to wear.
You've got better hair, Ronnie. Don't worry.
Well, I hope so. And then we travel back down to Steelhouse. You know, there's still restrictions there, but it's outdoors, so the rules are slightly different. And then up to North Wales as a pilot, which is still going to be immense. And then down to yourself then where there's no restrictions. Am I right? And it's
no restrictions. No, just like masks in NHS, happy to check in, and that's it.
See, so yeah, there's, you know, it's just great. And like I said, we've been talking about it for so many weeks, so many months. Is it fair to say years now? It's
encroaching that way, isn't it?
Yeah, and we're finally, you know, we're back on the road.
I mean, last time I saw you guys was at Winter's End, just before it all sort of happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's bizarre to me because that still feels like it was a couple of months ago and I've just been in a blip. Like, I still feel like, you know, I've come off tour, I've got my shit together, let's go. And then someone's tapped me on the shoulder and gone, it's a couple of years later, son. Do you know what I mean? It's like
in a coma, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? When you do look at that. That was that was 220, wasn't it?
Yeah, February 2020.
Yeah.
Because I was Guerrilla Riot, who were also on at Just Push Play. They were also at Winter's End, and I know the boys quite well. So I was stood there chatting to Deggy, the bass player of Guerrilla Riot, and it was just that there were sort of rumblings of this COVID thing coming across the waters, as it were, and blah blah blah. And this is in like February, and I remember Deggy chatting to me, and he's going, "Do you think we'll be all right for Just Push Play, Lee?" And I'm going, "Mate, we'll be. It's 6 months away. We'll be absolutely fine. You know, it's going to be a couple of weeks, maybe a month, and then it will all be over, and you know, we'll be back to." How fucking wrong was I?
Well, but everybody was. Do you know what I mean? Everybody, the government, every country got it wrong. Like what to do? It's unprecedented. It's never happened in this way before. So it is crazy. But I think looking back at Winter's End, that feels years ago to me. That feels it just feels so long ago. But it kind of wasn't. It's only last year. I don't know. It's just. I want to really start getting behind now what's coming, like literally next for us gigs wise. But there is this like this little thing in the back of my head, like what if something happens again now, another third wave or something, you know, that trips us up again. Like I can't handle it. I gotta stop thinking about it. Like you've just gotta we've got gigs, let's do them, move on to the next one. Because if you stop and think, oh, what if? It's a dark place, isn't it? When you start thinking, what if?
Don't want to start wondering, like say, you start winding yourself up about. You've been in that situation where it's been, right, stuff's on, it's off, it's on, it's off again. There is that doubt, definitely. I mean, up until, you know, a couple of weeks ago, like when the last thing got pushed on, there was that thing. No, you're right, man. It was that thing of like, right, okay, so they're not lifting restrictions in England like I planned. Is this going to happen? But
do you know what that is? That's my son trying to FaceTime me. He's 7, and he's not going to stop.
I just can't wait. Just genuinely can't wait. It's been a long time coming, and that's what Shane was on about. There's a part of you that you're worried if it's gonna happen. Yeah. Yes, I agree with him. You can't think about it too much. We're kind of petrified now because we're seeing bans left, right, and centre over the globe in Britain, Everything's up, everything's running, your team's there, you know, it's go, 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 go. And then all of a sudden someone tests positive, and then it's like, So I suppose everybody just has to be super patient, and we just all move forward together and just through it all together, like, you know, and no matter the obstacle, just keep knocking it down and keep supporting everybody, like, you know. So
I think you bang on there, Ronnie, man. Like you say, I think it's supporting each other. It's moving forward as best we can. It's trying to enjoy that normality as best we can whilst there, and hope it fully returns.
you know, I'm not going to witch it and touch wood, and I have got wood by here because I've got a lovely wooden table. You know, you run the risk of it being a promoter yourself, where, you know, we're going to Bradford now, then we're going to Steelhouse, and then anything can happen in a week, if that makes sense. So it's horrible. So we're conscious of that, and that's why we're all like freaking out, because we want to do every gig possible.
Yeah.
And then it's not just us, you've got other bands on the bill, which they could just go and bloody do their shopping in the week, and then something happens, and that's a nightmare for a promoter, for an agent, for a band, for the fans, it's just such a knock-on effect, and nobody can help it. And I think that's the big headline here, is you can't be hard on yourself. Because I seen a band today, and you know, shit's hit the fan a little bit for them, and fingers crossed and touch wood, everything's all right. But you can't be hard on yourself if you're that individual, because it could be the next person, or it could be the next person. It's just like, you know, we're not quite out the water. So I agree with you here, Shane. You gotta have that wise mind of anything can change any moment, any day, any week. But try and keep a little bit of a positive head on of, I don't know, I think in our head, without giving too much magic away, we're forming plans for plans for plans in the background. And I think that's what's keeping me sane at the moment. And finally in a band where we have like plans to move forward for the next 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Even if a shit storm happens, like, do you know what I mean? So it's almost like, right, what are we doing if that happens? I asked the manager that, as Shane have heard, and you've asked the manager, and he's just as good, because he hates it at the moment, and he's trying to navigate all his bands through the war, like, you know, on the virus. And it's just hard, man. We all just got to stick together. And, you know, there's too much negativity around at the moment. There's a lot of bad stuff I see online, so I try and float on. I connect with yourself, I connect with the Crow family, do my bit, and then come off. And Shane's the same now as well, don't we, Shane? We just do what we can do and keep our connection, which is important to ourselves.
I think that's what you can do, isn't it? Just keeping that positive connection. Like you say, there's so much like negativity going on, and you know, if I, you know, when I was trying to promote Just Push Play throughout the whole pandemic and trying to keep positive, you know, I got messages sent to me by people telling me who did I think I was, and all this kind of thing. And you think, well, if you read the backstory of the show, I'm not someone where this money's going in my pocket. It's going to a hospice, and all I'm trying to do is keep that going. You know, and I understand people, you know, people are scared, and when people are scared of, it's like you were saying, Shane, you know, it's unprecedented with the situation we've been in. It's the unknown, and when people are scared of the unknown, they lash out. They, you know, they get scared, they lash out, and I totally get it. But equally, it's at a point now where, you know, we are allowed that little bit more freedom. And I think it goes back to what you were saying, Shane, about, you know, the download pilot of not being known, like, well, do I jump in the crowd and do I get involved, or no, hang on, I'm just going to enjoy this for what it is. And I think that's all we can do, is enjoy each moment for what it is. Because like you say, at any minute it could potentially, you know, get taken away again.
Exactly that, but I mean, I had the 2 jabs before I did download, and so it wasn't like I kind of wanted to be double jabbed, because if you if you want to go and do these things, you want to be protected as much as you possibly can be, of course. But the whole vibe of download, and Ronnie will back me up here, it was all done extremely well. It was all extremely safe. I know there was obviously people together and stuff, but you know, everything was in place. It was just done so well. So I remember saying to the security guys, look, am I okay to go in the crowd? I didn't want to piss anybody off or break any rules and stuff. And they were like, I don't see why not, because there's 10,000 people in the field. It's like, why wouldn't you? It's a pilot. And I don't know. It's just you get to the point where you overthink every scenario we have done in these 18 months. Should I do it? Should I do that? Or could it? What's the consequence of your actions? And the whole thing, I think, sometimes with rock and roll is you don't think, you're reacting in that moment. And I think that's why everybody loves going to live music. It's because anything can happen. It's that spontaneity. It's that excitement, that buzz, that vibe, that feel. And
Yeah, like you say, it's that buzz. It's those those moments. Like it became a part of their show. But the first time I saw Airborne at Download 2008, when Keith, scales the lighting rig, and I'll never forget, we were down the front, and some guy had an Aussie flag, and he went and nicked this Aussie flag off this guy, and initially he went to go sort of drape it over his Marshall, and we were sort of like, oh, that's cool. And then you can see him looking at the Marshall with this flag on it, and then like looking up at the lighting rig, and you can see him thinking, I want to fucking put it up there.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, he's grabbed this map, grabbed this flag, and strung his Explorer over his back and started scaling the lighting rig. And you can see, security having a fucking nightmare in their head. And you can see the rest of Airborne just sort of looking at him, going, "Oh, we better keep playing," and them just holding that low end down and keeping it going and keeping their end going. Next thing you know, he's tied the flag to the top of the second stage and brought his guitar back round and brings it out for a solo, and you're just like, you might die, but this is one of the coolest fucking things I've ever seen in my life.
It's insane. Because we all go to watch live music and sing along and stuff, but it's those moments in it that's like that's memorable, that stays with you. Or when he did that, when he climbed and the security, and not so much about what was being played. It's mad. But you go to see those live things happen in the moment, and you can almost see, like you just described it, you could see that that thought happening as he's thinking it. That's what it's all about, man. I love that. I love that.
It's the moments you get with other people in the crowd as well. Like I always remember, I was Download 2009, and I was watching Blackstone Cherry. I sort of lost the people I was with in the crowd and whatever. I was stood there on my own watching Blackstone Cherry, and they were doing things my father said, which obviously now reminds me of my dad. But at the time, my dad was still with us, but my granddad, who I was really close to, had just sort of passed away quite recently. So I'd had a few too many to drink, and I was stood there thinking of my granddad and having a bit of a moment to myself. And I was just like sort of line of about 5 or 6 blokes, none of us seemingly knowing each other, but all of us kind of clocked that this song kind of all meant something to each single person who was sort of stood nearest. Next thing I know, so arms around all these dudes I don't know, everybody's singing away, sing along lines, and then it was just like grown men crying, going, "Right, see you later, mate, have a good festival," and just sort of walking off. I've never seen them again.
Yeah.
Never saw them that weekend. Never saw them after that moment. But it's those moments where you have that sort of various connections in the crowd, and I think that's a lot of what all us music fans are missing. But fortunately, it looks like it's returning.
Yeah.
So I guess the only things left for me to say is, dudes, thank you for headlining Just Push Play. Thank you for joining us this evening. Have you got a message for anybody listening who is attending Just Push Play, attending Steelhouse, attending TIV, Bradford, wherever they are going to come see in the coming weeks?
Just to bring the noise. We're going to be there. We're so excited to be there, and I'm sure everybody else is to watch all these bands and stuff. But just bring it, because we will be, and we're going to have the best time in all these gigs. We're just going to give our all, but like we always do, typical Crows, give our all, leave it all on stage, and just bring our noise.
Perfect. And just the final thing. At the end of the show, I normally pick a song and then blah blah blah. But as there's obviously yourself and Ronnie, I thought I'd get Ronnie, if you pick a song for us to play at the beginning of the interview when we air this, and Shane, if you pick a song of you guys for to play at the end of the interview. What do you want?
Cool. Sin on Skin.
Yeah.
What?
See, now you get 2 choices, Shane, technically, if you've already chosen that, because Ronnie's already chosen that one for you.
That's a good way of looking at it. You should go into politics.
No. I can myself afterwards.
I will go with Kingdom of Dust.
Oh, Shane, good choice. All right, guys. Well, we'll go with those choices, and thanks for joining us, and I'll see you Just Push Play.
Thank you, Lee.
Pleasure,
See you soon, buddy.
See you soon, guys.
See you tomorrow.
Cheers, Lee. Yeah.
Dolly.
All right, guys.